Okay, guys, so we're back with the Crucial Digital Marketing Questions and Answers series for enlightened subject matter experts. And by subject matter experts that are described as enlightened, we're talking about those of you who really feel that the kind of value that you create and bring and share with your clients or the world can be pretty life altering, right? And game changing. We're not looking for just a little, so small changes can, of course, have an incredible impact, right? So, whatever the changes are that your consulting services provide, um, you just have to have a sense that the world needs what you have to offer, period, right? And if you're awakened to that, you recognize what part of the world your consulting services fit into that can have a huge and dramatic impact. Consider yourself on that path of being an enlightened subject matter expert. I could say more about that, but I'm going to skip for now and just say leave what I just said, right? And just have you also think through, like, is what I do or what I offer um, enlightening, right? Does it provide this um, impact that's just consistent with my deepest views and values, and and how I can play a part in changing the world or transforming the world or contributing to even happiness in the world, right? Okay, that's enough of that esoteric context. All right, so now let's talk about a critical question. So if you're new to this, you're watching this for the first time, Crucial Digital Marketing Questions for these enlightened subject matter experts is all about helping you get out of your head and in the field of doing what you know you're supposed to do, right? Because a lot of times our minds are suspended, hooked on the but what abouts and the how do I's and the all these things. And the objective here is for us to work together to answering some of these questions that keep you stuck, that keep you going in circles. So one of the things that stops people from really having the kind of impact and making the kind of difference that they want to make is this fear of rejection, right? And the fear of rejection is hidden inside of this question of how do you sell your products or service online without being salesy or annoying. So, many of us have had to hit skip or hit the skip ad button when we see ads online. Um, or you're scrolling and you're like, oh, damn, this guy again, or man, this lady again, right? With whatever the product is that they're offering. And a part of you sometimes even thinks, man, how do I make sure I don't see this person's ad anymore? It's so annoying, right? And then you find yourself in a position as a consultant where that's what you are going to be doing, right? And what I mean by that is just means like your ads are going to be online. And someone, yes, will still find your ads annoying, right? And someone will still find your ads salesy, okay? And just same way you find other people's ads annoying or salesy, right? But for you, maybe what you want to do is you don't want it to be that salesy, or you don't want it to be that annoying, okay? And I should say, there is a way though for your content to not just be a pitch every time, okay? Where it can actually be informative, it can be educational, right? And inside of its informative nature and inside of its educational quality, you can actually have people say, man, you know what? I see this guy's ads, but I always feel like I learned something from them, right? Or I see this gal's ads and I always feel like it takes me somewhere and inspires me to just be better, right? And so there's a way to create your content and create your ads or create your marketing in a way that is not selling, but really educating and learning more about your client so that you can better service them. Okay. And so this is how the fine art of educating clients to buy versus selling them works. Well, what does it actually look like? Okay. So again, as always, I want to go to the drawing board. Okay. And for those of you who marvel at my stick figures, prepare to marvel again. Okay. So let's switch screens for a second here. And let's talk about what does it look like to sell without selling, right? And, my mentor in this arena, an example and model, has really made it very simple. He says, instead of selling to people, you've got to go from selling to educating. right? And and so what does it really mean to go from selling to educating, right? So when you're selling to people, what happens, right? You're chasing, right? You're convincing. Sometimes arm twisting, okay? Um, using fear to try to convert someone. And there's just a lot of force involved, right? And I could go on about this whole thing right here, okay? All right, so do you want to do that? Is that what you want to be known for? Right? I don't think so. So what happens on the education side is you actually, instead of chasing, you're attracting, okay? Instead of trying to convince someone, you're inspiring them, right? Instead of arm twisting, you're actually nurturing, right? Instead of trying to scare people, right? You're awakening them to their power, right? Their power to choose, right? The power of, and awakening them even to the consequences of not moving forward, okay? And actually this is like where instead of force, you're using power. So awakening to consequence, right? And this is not consequence like, oh, you're going to pay for this. No, it's just like really letting people knowing what their choices and what their options are, right? Okay. So this is what it looks like to really start to grapple with this idea of selling versus educating people, right? And not annoying. So when you think about this, when you see an ad, so whether this is in your ads, whether you see this in your emails, right? Your posts, right? Because everybody's always concerned, like, well, if I send another email, if I put up another post, if I put up another story, right? If I put up another tweet, right? These are all the different ways that your content gets out there, right? Of course, your Facebook lives, your YouTube videos, right? All of these are situations that you will find yourself in interacting and or having your content be interacted with. And you have to ask yourself, when you take inventory of all these different formats, right? And this is just a few, okay? There's all kinds of other ways. Can your ad be described as attracting, right? Or attractive? Can it be described as inspiring? Can it be described as informative, right? Can it be described as nurturing? Can it be described as awakening people to the consequences and choices that they have? Can it be described as powerful, right? Compelling in a way that has someone say, damn, I didn't realize I had that power. Okay, so this is really sort of the foundational context. So now that you can kind of take that inventory and you're now thinking to yourself, damn, yeah, you know what? Maybe my content, maybe my ads, maybe my emails, maybe my posts, maybe my stories, maybe my tweets, maybe my Facebook lives, maybe my fill in the blank hasn't really been saturated with these qualities. Maybe it's been filled with a lot of this kind of chasing energy, this kind of convincing energy, this kind of arm twisting energy, this kind of fear energy, this kind of force energy. Okay, I could definitely use some of this. Okay. All right. Well, where do you even start? Okay. So part of it is a lot of times when we don't know who we're marketing to, we resort to just our assumptions, right? Based on our avatar. And, you know, an avatar, if you don't know what that is sort of a archetype, of your client, your ideal client or clients. And when you do your research to try to understand what their pain points are, right, you should have a good understanding of what they enjoy, right, of what they're attracted to, what they're inspired by, what they find nurturing, what they will respond to when you present consequences and choices to them, right? And with that process, I'm a big believer in affirmation of the avatar. Just really knowing, like, okay, you know, I mean, because that's what testing ads is all about, right? To making sure that the avatar, the people you think you're selling to, are the people who are actually buying your product. There's like one simple thing I'm just going to share with you, and then I'm going to close out, that kind of allows all of this to kind of come together. So it's just not just theory, starry-fari type of stuff, okay? So in simple form, when it comes to what you need to do or what you can do to begin this process of selling and educating without being salesy and annoying, is as simple. Well, if these are done right, as I wrote them here, right, people will naturally be drawn and magnetized to you, right? So we just kind of put a square around this. Okay, so if these are done right, people will naturally, we have my arrows here. Okay, people will naturally be drawn to this. Okay, so, and when they're drawn to it, because it's all of that, of course they're gonna, you know, get on your email list and read what you write and be interested in what you have to offer without feeling like they're being sold, right? Because they opted in, they were attracted to what you posted, to what you shared, to learn more. Okay, and of course, with everything you add inside of that, it also has to feature these things. Now, guys, this is not exhaustive, right? I'm just, in general, capturing the essence of what your message and what your product positioning, all of that is, okay? And you know, I just noticed here, you know, fear, you could also kind of put, you know, love, but that might be a little too sort of soft for people to grapple with, right? But at the end of the day, right, it's still awakening people to consequences and choices. So when someone is attracted because all these other qualities, when someone is attracted to all these qualities, right, and they see all these things happening, right, they don't feel like they're being sold to, right? If they're being educated and they're being informed, okay, then they naturally want to learn what they need to learn that you know in order for them to make a buying decision. So let me wrap it up by, again, my stick figure world. So when somebody is interested in buying something, right, they are looking for information, okay? And they are going to be at, you know, different phases of it, okay? But there's, you know, just generally speaking, there's sometimes like an awareness phase. Let me just switch colors for a second here, okay? Right? So they're in an awareness phase, and sometimes they're in the consideration phase, right? Awareness as in they're realizing they have a problem. Oh, I spelled awareness wrong. You guys didn't even correct me. I thought y'all loved me. Awareness. Okay. Sometimes they're in a consideration phase. And then sometimes they are, you know, consideration is kind of like approximate to decision making, right? Okay. But naturally, what's after that is decision. And then there's a point in time where they're going to buy. Okay. So these are the different places that people go through. And so when you think about your content, without it, you know, when you think about your content, you have to think, okay, when you're sharing it, is it giving someone information to understand where they are on any of the, you know, with respect to where they are on any of these stages, right? So when someone's in the awareness phase, like they're realizing they have a problem, or they don't even realize they have a problem, but because of your ad or because of your messaging or your post, they realize like, wow, you know, I really need to do something about this, okay? And when they realize they have to do something about it, they then could jump into a phase of consideration, like, wow, who else solves this problem? So they're going to compare you to other people. Okay. And after they compare you to other people, they're going to start deciding, well, who do I go with? And after they decide who do I go with, they're actually going to buy something, right? You see this? Awareness, consideration, decision, and then buying moment. Okay. So from a quote unquote selling versus education perspective, the reason why you occur as salesy and annoying is because people just jump right in here. They're like, oh, you gotta buy this. You just gotta buy this, without knowing that that person is over here, or that person's like over here, or that person's over here, right? And so when you're jumping the gun and you're just jumping into, or even if you just jump straight to decision buy, right? You don't know where this person is at. Now you have some assumptions. You have, of course, the algorithms that kind of tell you, well, this person's made some buying decisions recently, or they have hyper buying potential. Okay, yeah, I mean, you can go on that data, right? But overall, if you're just kind of starting out, getting feeling your way into this, you just can't sabotage yourself by just jumping into decision and buying, right? And or you kind of feel internally your energy is this thirsty, you got to decide, you got to buy energy, right? So how do we skip through this? How do you kind of work your way around this? Comes down to, in some cases, just asking questions. Okay? That's how you kind of work around this. So what does that look like to ask questions? Do you have time to ask questions to each person and see, hey, are you at the awareness phase? Hey, are you at the consideration phase? Hey, are you at the decision phase? Hey, are you at the buying phase? You don't have time for that, right? However, there are some things you can do. And here's one of them, and that's the end of this, okay? You can create a questionnaire or some version of a survey. Whenever someone interacts, an opportunity for someone to have a questionnaire or survey when someone interacts with your content. I'll give you a perfect illustration of this, and I won't jump all too deep into this because, that's what our future together consists of, right? You learning some of these things at a deeper level. But this questionnaire survey, quick questionnaire survey, comes down to something like this. So let me just pause the screen here for a second, and I'm going to show you something. So when I created my Invincible Consultant funnel, right, I knew that there were some things that people needed to work through, okay? And here's what that looked like, okay? I'm just going to give you an example of what it looks like, because this landing page may change, okay? So I share the screen. Okay.
Seeing your screen.
Oh, you guys aren't seeing my screen. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Here we go. All right. Thank you. So, so when you're looking at this, here's what happens. So this is just one of my landing pages, right? You may have seen this. By the time you see this, there might be a different one available online. But either way, it's just a model. So when someone jumps to register now, right? They now have an opportunity to register and put their email in, right? But what happens is they get to answer a questionnaire that lets me know when they do come on into my email subscriber base where they're at, so that in my messaging, in my emails, I know who I'm speaking to. So in an email, I can say, all right, this email is for those of you who are just starting out and don't yet have an idea how to best help your business grow, right? So imagine if someone clicked on this before they came into the masterclass, and then I sent them an email that said, hey, I just wanted to check in with you. I know you mentioned that you're just starting out and don't yet have an idea how to best help your business grow. how do you think they're going to feel? They're going to feel like, wow, yeah, that's right, I am. Well, how do I know that? Well, I know that because they told me that, right? Same thing with any of these other phases. And the content that I'm producing is for that particular niche or group of people. So some of you watching this, and when I kicked off this series, I had in mind that this series would be for a certain group of people. For those of you who are just starting out, to those of you who are in the intermediate level, right, who have some efforts that have worked but just want it to be less stressful, right? Some of this content is going to speak to you, as well as some of it will speak to those who have a decent strategy and want to make it more effective by having a coach, right? But for the most part, these people in these three categories are the people who are in the most vulnerable position, right? These people have it down. They just want next level. And they're the people that the content just has to be on the edge of letting them realize, like, wow, that's exactly why I need a coach, right? But for these folks here, in some cases, they need a deeper level of guidance, okay, and support, from content to implementation to a course to training, you name it, right? So all that said, this is how I know what those who are subscribing need, right? This little survey here. This allows me to sell, quote unquote, sell without selling or being annoying. Why? Because I'm only speaking to those who have told me where they are at. So I'm speaking to where they are at versus going about it. If you remember what I just shared with you, trying to jump right into decision, buy, right? So I'm now in a phase where when they opt in, they're letting me know based on their awareness where they think they are. And then through the emails, I can talk about, hey, are you considering using this service or using this product or benefiting from this masterclass? Hey, are you ready to are you deciding if this is right for you? And then I can shoot an email that addresses what it takes to make a good decision, right? Because they are in a decision phase. And then of course, when they're buying, I can have messaging that addresses, hey, this is why this is a great idea to buy. Okay. All of this is sort of inside of, a copywriting approach and process that helps people make buying decisions with confidence and security and certainty, right? Again, that's a different set of trainings, but you get the idea. So what did I just do? I just showed you the questionnaire and survey that allows me to, quote unquote, sell without selling. Because essentially when someone opts in, they actually are interested in getting something. They just want to make sure they're getting it either from the right person or that it will address their pain point, address the challenges that they're facing, right? And take them to the promised land. And I already talked about that issue in one of the previous trainings. So I hope that this has made some sense and brought some clarity as far as how you want to start thinking about selling without selling, by actually educating and giving people an opportunity to tell you what they want you to help them with. Takes all the guesswork out, right? When someone tells you, hey, this is where I'm at. Okay. So that's sort of fundamentally the spirit of how you do it. Again, the technical parts and how do you assemble it, and even creating like a lead generation approach where you just are creating you just only have a questionnaire or a survey. Again, there's some advanced approaches to this, right? But this is just a general framework on how to start thinking about how to sell without being salesy or annoying. Okay. Biggest thing is just listening, right? Listening to your clients and what they're telling you versus you trying to tell them, here's what you need to do. Okay. Be a great listener. Be really aware and sensitive to what they need, what their cues are as far as what they need, and you will be at least headed down the right path. Okay. So to wrap this up, let us get to the fundamentals here. Hang on, let me switch my screen. Okay. All right. Oops, hang on. All right, I gotta switch this up. Okay, so now that we've done this, the big thing is, what now, right? People are drowning in all kinds of information, as always, as I've always said, and it will not really get that much better with they're not just drowning in information, they're drowning in misinformation. Okay. And there's always like the question of what now, right? Um, what do I do now that I know this? Now that I kind of get a better sense of, oh, wow, that's how I sell without being salesy or annoying. Well, where do I start, right? You can jump into your email, you can jump into your blog post, you can jump into your Facebook post and try to make those tweaks and da da da. But there's a part of you that's going to feel like insecure as to whether or not what you're doing is working or not, right? Or how long to make those tweaks until you see, or not knowing how long you should make those tweaks until you see results, or how soon can you expect results for making those adjustments, right? There's all kind of sort of nerve-wracking and nerve-wrecking concerns, right, that come with making these adjustments. So the what now question is actually pretty big, and that's why I always have this post up that just says, could you use a hand with sorting through that, right? With setting yourself up where as you're making those changes, as you're making those tweaks, you're doing them in a way that's kind of scientific and methodical so that you can know what to expect in real terms, as far as having people consume or purchase your products without you feeling like you're being salesy and annoying. Okay. All right. So if you could use a hand with that, as always, you are welcome to schedule an appointment. If you're already part of the Invincible Consultant Program and community, then we'll see you in the next upcoming training sessions, right? Where we actually get to work and make these adjustments. But for those of you who maybe this is your first time or you're still at the beginning phases of this, you're welcome to schedule an Invincible Consultant strategy session where we can take a look at what you're doing, how you're going about it, and how to set you up so that you can share yourself, your services and or products in a way that really educates people and honors where they are versus where you feel like they should be. Okay. All right. So thanks again for joining me on this crucial digital marketing questions and answers session. I definitely wish you best of luck if you choose to move ahead and, of course, schedule your consulting session. Fantastic. Look forward to talking to you then. If you're not at that point where this is, what you want to jump into, perfect. Stick around, follow the content wherever you might be seeing this. If it's a matter of subscribing to the channel or leaving a comment, letting us know that it's still making a difference for you, stick around. Sooner or later at some point, if it clicks, then it'd be more than perfect and ideal for you to come on board and schedule a session then. So that said, thank you again for watching, and we will see you guys in the upcoming sessions.